asking people to turn their life, prayer and devotion before worship service. And it's not that we looking for those to come to worship, because we may not get but 3 or 4 of those in the morning time to come to worship, but it's addressing their basic needs and seeing lives being transformed through our representative of Christ, not on just what we say, but what we do.
So my first Sunday at our church, when there were 12 of us, I did a board meeting right afterwards, which was essentially the whole church. You guys been in those churches? So I did a board meeting afterwards, and it was a unique situation. The last pastor left, and right before he left, they had voted to change the name of the church. And so we had a sign that had Aiken Ebenezer Church of the Nazarene, and right below it was Open Table Church of the Nazarene on the little marquee. And so I had 2 questions for him. I said, "What's your name? Who are you?" And they said, "We have no idea." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, let's work on that." And I said, "Okay, what are you passionate about? What makes you excited to come to church?" And they said, "We have a 950 square foot building. It's a freestanding storefront. It is crowded, but there are these big, huge windows where it is as transparent as you can be. And people walk in. I've had people walk in right in the middle of sermons, just they'll walk in and they'll sit down." And they said, "We are so excited about the people in our community that are finding us." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, we're not going to focus on anything else. I have 4 kids, 8 and under. So for me to say we're not going to do children's ministry is really tough. But we're not going to do children's ministry. We're not going to do student ministry, any of that." I said, "It's going to be our focus is this community." And out of that, ministry has grown. But I began to talk to the people that were just coming in. I realized that a lot of the people that I was meeting were, let's say, blacklisted at homeless shelters, which I understand the need to do. I get it. They wore out their welcome, or however you want to say it. So I started asking, what are the needs? And, food, shelter, and hygiene. Now that they're not able to go into a place where they can take a shower, hygiene was a huge concern. Diseases, illnesses, all of that comes from poor hygiene. And so out of that, we started praying about how do we do that? In our facility, it is not possible. So how do we do this? And I'll share a little more about how we do that in a little bit.
So my setting is suburban. We are in the middle of the 4 private schools of our county. So the question at our setting is, how do you reach people with God's goodness when their needs are hidden? Because these folks are very well resourced, and typically people who are well resourced are really good at hiding what they need. And in seminary, we learn a lot about how to help people whose needs are very visible. So our story actually starts with one of the E. Stanley Jones professors of evangelism and Dr. Teasdale's evangelism equation. So instead of trying to figure out what has worked in other places, what has worked in other suburbs, what has worked in cities in where there's needs of homelessness, how do you figure out how to serve a community that is very, very well resourced, but at the same time very much needs Jesus? So we went through the evangelism equation, if you're familiar with Dr. Teasdale, and we're able to find the things that we are very good at and the things that our community needs. And we landed on, there's just a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of boredom, especially post-pandemic. So how can we position ourselves to meet those needs? And out of that, I had 2 focus sessions with my people and just said, if we had this, if we got this grant, what could we do? What needs do you see? And that's where the idea of the community table came up. There wasn't a specific single need. It's not like there's people who need a shower. It's we need this and we need this and we need this and we need this. And after those sessions, I looked at the common threads in the conversations that we had and wrote the grant proposal from there.